All right. Welcome everyone to we got somebody joining. Let's see who we
Oh,
got.
hey
Hey,
Joe, it's Adam. I was just joining to listen.
hey, no worries. You're on as a panelist, I think, or a host or something. So,
Let me just mute myself and not get in the way.
okay. I was gonna say feel free to chime in if you'd like. Um, all right. So, welcome everyone to tonight's webinar. We are going to be talking about Titan asymmetric compounding, or Titan AC is what it stands for. And um, so far, the reason why we wanted to do this is because we originally launched Titan AC as sort of an experiment. We weren't really sure if it was going to work or not, and we just kind of wanted to see if it would. And as I mentioned earlier, as the year ended, we had quite a bit of success, quite a bit of results coming from Titan AC. And that's much thanks to all of you who, have been willing to test the product along with us and, started to use it in the live market. And I think by the end of the year, we had more people passing with Titan AC than even Titan X. And so we decided to officially integrate it into the program. And so it's now part of the refund policy. It's on the leaderboard. It's been programmed to work with MTP, and we even have an official version on the website. So yeah, Titan AC is officially part of the program. And tonight, we're just going to be covering exactly what Titan AC is, kind of more in depth, going into a little bit more detail, and then, of course, answering any questions you guys have. So as I'm going along here, feel free to drop any questions you have inside of the chat, and I'll either try to answer them as we go along, or I'll be sure to answer them at the end. Okay, so any questions that are just burning before we get started?
Hey Joe, I just want to confirm people are enabled to chat. I'm not seeing anything in the chat coming through.
Everybody should we've been has been chatting up to this point,
Oh,
so
there we are. Okay, yeah, okay.
okay.
That's good.
All right, so questions are: how does the support demand and support zones work? Does it use scalping? What's the pass rate been? Steps for installation? How does it handle the minimum trading day rule? Can I use Titan AC out of the box without bug fixes? Will I be serving food tonight? Unfortunately not. It's not food's not included. But feel free to grab popcorn if you'd like. We've got some I even have some slides prepared. So uh yeah, we've got a good show coming up. Okay. Well, thanks for just let me know what's on your mind. We'll cover all of it, and anything I miss we'll answer at the end. Now, first things first, I know that there's been a lot of known bugs that have been posted, and I don't know if you're concerned about that or not. I just want to kind of explain what's going on. So, obviously, as I'm sure many of you know, we don't trade during the month of December. We haven't traded during the month of December, ever since we started, and that's always been a good thing for us, generally speaking. Just because December market conditions are quite unpredictable, and due to the holidays and banks and large institutions just not providing the volume that the markets normally um, that they're normally providing the markets for us, and so the volume's not there, and so it's just not a good time to trade. So anyways, during that time, we've kind of we're aggressive in our development, and we've completely rewritten Titan AC, and we've completely rewritten Titan X from scratch, and it's to make it so that it's more efficient, so that it back tests faster. Just cleaned up the code since we've been adding so many features and different things up to this point. And so part of that is there's going to be, bugs, and it's just something we have to get through. It's just not going to work perfectly, especially when we have so many settings. I mean, we have an internal testing team that, they do their best, but I mean, it's just impossible for us to test every single combination of every single setting. And so really appreciate those of you who have been giving feedback and helping us identify bugs. And, we're going to get these sorted as soon as possible, and we should be all good. That being said, in the meantime, we do have plenty of strategies on the leaderboard using previous versions that you can use for live trading. I personally am not going to resume live trading for probably, a few weeks here, at least till the second or third week of January, just to allow the markets to kind of pick up again. That decision is totally up to you. We are technically in January, so you are technically, covered by the refund policy again. And you can trade if you want to, but I would say it's more advisable to just give it a couple more weeks to let, things sort of settle in again for the new year. So yeah, anyways, that's that. So new versions coming soon with bug fixes. All right. And then just for those of you who aren't aware, I'll go ahead and share my screen just to make this perfectly clear. Let's see. Yes, leaderboard. Okay. So you can see the EA and the version right here on the leaderboard. Okay. So if you're wanting to use one of these top strategies, which, frankly look really good, in my opinion, 30 plus days on the leaderboard, 98% pass rate, 95% pass rate, recency scores, well above 300. So yeah, I mean, these are strategies that I would definitely use, if it were me. But yeah, you can just go over here, see what EA was used, what version was used, and you can access those either on the downloads page in your client area, or you can just message our live chat support and they can provide you with that version. Okay. So, again, these bug fixes, they're being worked on. These are in the latest beta versions that they're being corrected in. But in the meantime, you don't have to worry about that. You can just use these previous versions of the EAs and trade the top strategies that way. Okay. And if you have any questions on that, you can always message your coach and or live chat support. All right. Everybody good with that? This is a lot to keep track of on my screens here. I've lost the chat. Hopefully. Okay.
Joe, and in the chat, okay?
Yeah, Adam, actually, while you're on here, if you don't mind, maybe kind of keeping an eye on the chat for me.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Perfect. Okay. Any questions that have come up, Adam, in the chat that you want to address before moving on here?
Not directly referring to Titan AC.
Okay. Okay. And like I said, any other questions that we don't cover along the way, we'll just, we'll have an open Q&A at the end. We can talk about anything and everything prop farming, not just Titan AC. But for now, we'll keep the focus on Titan AC. Let me share a different screen here. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, you can see my slides, hopefully. And I can't take full credit for these because these were actually created by Tyler back in the day when we first introduced this concept of asymmetric compounding. And this was something we actually created for an old indicator that we used. And, it was such a great idea. We thought that it would be great to make it automated and turn it into an EA. And that was kind of the whole theory behind Titan AC. And that's how it started as that initial experiment was we've been using this with an indicator. The math made sense, but let's put it into an EA. Let's automate it and let's see if it actually, back tests well. And, if it actually works as an automated robot. And like I said, obviously it has been, and it's only getting better as we continue to develop this EA. But let's get into exactly, what it's all about. So Titan AC is, AC stands for asymmetric compounding. Okay. And this is basically the whole idea behind the robot. Whereas Titan X, on the other hand, is based on cost averaging. So it's pretty much the same thing as Titan X. I mean, many of the settings are overlapping, but the main difference is its core risk management strategy, whereas Titan X is based on cost averaging and Titan AC is based on this asymmetric compounding. By the way, before I forget, if you go to the EA inputs here, I've added a Titan AC settings explain document. It is pretty much ready. You'll notice there's a few settings that haven't been defined yet, like these, for example. And those will be updated here in the next day or so. But yeah, we now have a setting document just like we have for Titan X, which should help make it easier to use and understand this EA, Titan AC. All right, so that being said, Titan AC is based on a risk management concept called asymmetric compounding. There's a couple videos here that you can learn, and that's actually where these slides are from. So if you need to review, you can always go back to those videos or watch the recording here. But we're going to go through this together and answer any questions you have. So asymmetric compounding, okay, the way that it works is it uses regular fixed take profit, stop loss, risk to reward, risk management. So, let's say you have a 1 to 3 risk to reward where you're risking 1% to make 3%. So you're risking 3 times, or sorry, you're targeting 3 times what you're risking. And here's an example right here. You can see you're risking, let's say 1%, and you're targeting 3%. So this is considered a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Okay. And so with regular compounding, on a 3 to 1 or a 1 to 3 risk to reward where you're risking 1% to make 3%, your first trade here, let's say you lose, then you're going to lose 1% on that trade. And so your overall balance is going to be minus 1%. Now, if you lose the second trade, again, you lose 1% on that trade and your overall balance is minus 2%. Now, let's say you win the third trade, okay? Then your overall, then your win on that trade is 3% and your overall balance then jumps up to plus 1%. Okay, now let's say we win another trade. Okay, so this is now 2 wins in a row. We'll win another 3%, right? And then our overall balance will be 4%. Okay, and then the next trade, trade 5, we'll say, well, we lose that trade. Okay, we lost 1% on that trade. Our overall drops to plus 3%. And then on the 6th trade here, let's say we win it. Our overall, our trade wins 3% and our overall jumps to plus 6%. Okay, so over those 6 trades, let's see, we had a win rate of 50%. We lost 3, we won 3, and our overall net profit loss was plus 6%. Okay, so that's just regular compounding, regular, fixed risk to reward compounding. Now, introducing asymmetric compounding, it works a little bit different. And the key with asymmetric compounding is having consecutive winners. That's really where you gain an advantage. Asymmetric compounding itself is kind of like an edge in risk management. Okay, so and I'll show you how this works right now. So let's say trade 1, same thing, right? Trade 1, you lose. Okay, so you're minus 1%. And so you're down 1% overall. Trade 2, you lose, so you lost 1% on that trade. You're minus 2% overall. Trade 3, you win. So now you're plus 3% on that trade, and you're plus 1% now overall. Trade 4, you win. So now you've won 12% on that single trade, and you're now up 13% overall. Now we're going to break down exactly how that works and why here in a second. Trade 5, you lose. You lost 1% on the trade, so you're back to only losing 1%. And so you're down to plus 12%. And trade 6, you win. You're now plus 3% on the trade, and you're 15% overall. Okay, so the difference here, when we applied asymmetric compound to the same series of trades, all the exact same, win, loss, everything, we gained 15%, whereas on the regular compounding, we only gained 6%. So what's the difference? What really happened there? So this is how it works. The way that it works is that you're simply taking all of the profit or some of the profit from your winning trade, and you're risking it plus your base risk. So in this case, 1% on the next trade. Okay, so all you're doing is taking your winnings, what you won, and you're adding it to the regular risk amount, 1%, on the next trade. So you're risking that much more. And so you can make that much more, or you can also lose that much more. Okay. So let's go through another example. This is risk. This is with a 1 to 2 risk to reward, where we're risking 1% to make 2%. Okay. So same trades here. So trade 1, we lose 1%, down 1% overall. Trade 2, we win 2%. So we're now plus 1% overall. Trade 3, we win. So we're plus 6% and on that trade. And because this is the second winner in a row. Okay. And so now we're plus 7% overall. So if we break that down, we take this winner right here, we gain 2%, right? So on this trade 3, we're now risking 3% because it's our winnings, this 2% here, plus the normal risk amount that we have, so 1%. So we're basically risking 3% to make 6% now on this trade 3. And because we won that trade 3, we made 6%, okay? So that brought us to 7% overall. Trade 4, we now reset. We go back to normal, risking 1% to make 2%. Okay, so we're only looking for 2 winners in a row or consecutive wins. Okay, so trade 4, we're now back to risking, the regular amount. We happen to lose it, so we only lost 1%, and we're now down to plus 6 overall. Trade 5, we win 2% on that trade, so we're up 8% overall. So now on this next trade, what's it going to be? We're going to be risking that 2% that we just won, right? Plus the original 1% that we're risking. So 3% to make 6%. So if we win, we're going to make 6%. If we lose, we're going to lose 3%. Let's see what happens here. We lost. So we're minus 3%. So now we're down to plus 5% overall. Okay. So that is how asymmetric compounding works. Now, let's compare the two. Let's compare, regular compounding to asymmetric compounding. Okay, so regular compounding, if we went through the same series of trades, it's just very simple, right? You lose 1% when you lose, you gain 2% when you win. So it's minus 1 plus 2 plus 2 minus 1 plus 2 minus 1. So you're at plus 3% overall. Now here with asymmetric compounding, because we had 2 winners in a row, we were able to take advantage of the fact that we're doing asymmetric compounding, and we were able to gain more by doing the asymmetric compounding. So it's kind of this trade-off, right? If you can hit consecutive winners, then you actually make more than regular compounding. However, if you win and then lose, you'll actually lose more than regular compounding. But the idea is if you actually have a true edge, you can actually make much more money with asymmetric compounding. It is a bit more of a roller coaster ride emotionally, but that's actually what makes it particularly useful for passing prop firm challenges, in my opinion, because you're not actually losing that money. You've only put down $500 for a challenge fee, right? It's not like it's 10,000 of your own dollars. So, you can kind of handle those swings more easily. But it can be really powerful for making lots of gains quickly, which is, really ideal for passing challenges. So we're going to get to that here in a minute. Let's look at another example comparing regular compounding to asymmetric compounding here. Okay. And by the way, Adam, are we doing okay so far? Is everybody following along? Are we?
Yeah, we're
questions?
doing good so far.
Okay. Okay, so regular compounding versus asymmetric compounding. Okay, so okay, so we're just looking at sequence of trades, right? So here is a lose-lose. You lose 2%. Same thing with asymmetric compounding. You lose 2 trades in a row, you lose the same 2%. Regular compounding, you lose-win. Okay, you're going to gain 2%. Same thing with asymmetric compounding. Lose-win, you're gonna gain 2%. Okay, now the difference comes when you have a winner first. Okay, so when you have, when you win a trade, that's where the difference comes, is in the next trade, how much you're risking with asymmetric compounding. So here, you win, you lose, you're just risking the same normal amount that you would, normally with regular compounding. So you're gaining 2% here. With asymmetric compounding, you win 3%. So you're going to risk 3% plus the regular 1% that you're risking, right? So you're actually, and if you lose that next trade, then you're going to lose that 4% that you were risking, right? And that's what happened here. So this is where asymmetric compounding is worse than regular compounding, is in a win-lose sequence. Okay, so win-lose, we're minus 4%, whereas regular compounding, we're plus 2%. However, if we can get a win-win, you can see the difference is huge. Okay, win-win with regular compounding, you're plus 6%. Win-win with asymmetric compounding, you're plus 15%. So, you can make a lot more, a lot faster. And then you can see what that does to the total as well. You're that much more profitable on the asymmetric compounding. So, again, asymmetric compounding, it's more of a roller coaster. So you have to kind of accept that as the trade-off, but you can make a lot more money doing asymmetric compounding. And it's just kind of more aggressive. Now, there is a more conservative way where you can have less of a roller coaster ride, psychologically speaking. And it's basically, instead of taking all the profits from the previous winning trade, you just take partial profits from the previous winning trade. Okay. So regular compounding, again, lose, you're just minus 2%. Asymmetric compounding, same thing, minus 2% on a lose-win, you're up 2%. Same thing with asymmetric compounding, lose-win, up 2%. However, with this more conservative approach, win-lose, you're up 2%. Win, instead of taking the full 3% that you won, plus the 1% that you normally, as your base risk, right? And risking the full 4% on the next trade, you just take 2%. Okay, so partial profits, right? So 2% is what you're risking on the next trade. Whereas here, you're just risking the 1%. And if you lose it, you're only down 2%. And so, regular compounding, you gain 2%. And here you're just net 0% over the win-loss sequence of trades there. Okay, win-win with the regular compounding, you're going to be up 6%. Win-win with the asymmetric compounding. Here, again, we're only risking 2%. Okay, and this is a 1 to 3. Yep, so 2%. So that way, when you win 6%. If you lost, you would have only lost 2%. But we win here, right? 2 in a row. And so that's where we get that plus 6 and overall 9% gain from 2 wins in a row. Whereas here, you only get 6%. Okay. And then we'll see how that, I guess we don't have the totals here, but let's see, that's 0, it's 8, 0, 9. So slightly better with asymmetric compounding doing it this way, 9% overall versus 8% overall. Okay. So let's look at asymmetric compounding now through the lens of taking an FTMO or a prop firm challenge. Okay. And the cool thing is, if you think about it, you're actually only 2 wins away from getting funded 100K. And I'll show you exactly what that means here. So if you see here, this is the same sequence we showed at the very beginning of this slide deck here. So lose that first trade. Okay, this is using asymmetric compounding now. Okay, so lose a trade, lose 1% on that trade, 1% overall, right? Trade 2 loses, you're minus 1% on that trade. So minus 2% overall. Trade 3 wins, you gain 3% on that trade. And so you're down to plus 1 overall, plus 1%. Okay, so what do we do after a winner? Well, we take the amount we won plus our regular, 1% risk. So that's 4% risk now. And we're, risking 4% to make 3 times that, 12%. Okay, if we win, or we lose 4% if we lose. We happen to lose, so we lost that 4%. And so now we're down to minus 3% overall. Next trade's a winner. So we gain 3%. That brings us back to break even. And then the next trade, now we have that consecutive winner. Okay, this is where asymmetric compounding is really powerful. Okay, so remember, we won. So that's 3% plus the 1%. We're risking 4 to make 12. And we did hit that. We made our profit goal. And so we make 12% on this single trade. And that essentially passes the challenge for us. So we went lose, lose, win, lose. We were down 3%. And then 2 winners in a row later, boom, we passed the challenge just like that. Okay, so it's really, really powerful when you um, can win 2 trades in a row. You can make up for even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses in a row. You can just win 2 trades in a row and you hit your 10% profit target. And obviously on other prop firms that have lower profit targets, it's that much easier. You see here in this situation, I mean, yeah, I mean, you literally just lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades in a row, and then boom, 6, 7, those are 2 winners in a row. That was enough to make you hit the 10% and essentially pass the challenge. And you don't have to worry about violating the max daily loss because you're only taking 1 trade at a time with asymmetric compounding. And that's the nice thing with Titan AC. Unlike Titan X that's taking these big ladders of trades, Titan AC is only in 1 trade at a time. So, it's a little bit easier to manage. All right, so that's it for the examples. Any questions? Does that make sense?
Yeah, Joe, I just wanted to make a comment here. So
Yeah.
when we first discovered this asymmetric compounding concept a couple years ago, we were using it with a price action indicator that we used to trade. It was called the BSI. And this was originally how we started having tons of people in our trading community passing prop firm challenges, was not actually even with an EA or a bot, but it was actually just taking trades and essentially using this asymmetric compounding risk management method. And because it's so powerful, we had people passing like crazy. So that was kind of the backstory on why we built this anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for sharing that, Adam. Yeah, and I mean, it's really cool that we have this automated now, right? Because before it was kind of like, we were just doing this all manually. But the fact that now we can use this system in an automated robot is really cool. So I'm just looking at the chat here, and Joe asked, how is he saying 1% loss when EPs are getting hit at like 5K? So yeah, so remember that Titan AC is only taking 1 trade at a time, and your 1 trade, as long as you're not risking more than I mean, like this is a good example, right? So you're only risking 1% to make 3%. Okay, so if you win like we did here, then you're only going to be risking a max of 3% plus 1%. So 4% to make 12%, right? So you're never going to violate the max daily loss. Now,
So
if you are risking more than that, though, then that's where you could run into an issue where you would. But thankfully, we have the equity protector that's making sure that doesn't happen, and so it would just cut off the trade early if it came to that.
So Joe, they're talking about a lot of the strategies that are on the leaderboard are using a wider stop loss, like 3 to 5%. In some of these, Joe, they're not using asymmetric compounding as we uh, are necessarily teaching it now. They're kind of just taking a trade and letting it run to either take profit or stop loss, right? Some of these strategies.
Yeah, or not
So
even.
that
I mean, some of them are just getting into the market and just closing at the end of a trading session, which is
right.
fine too. I mean, you can use Titan AC however you'd like, but um, it's actually because the asymmetric compounding wasn't even working in the original version of Titan AC, and that's something that we've only fixed recently in the later version. So that's going to be really cool to play with once all those other bugs are fixed. All right. Okay, cool. So I wanted to show you guys one other thing too. I have this Monte Carlo simulation, which I don't know if you guys are familiar. I think they used. I mean, what I'm forgetting how we always explain this, Adam. It was like, don't they use like Monte Carlo in predicting weather patterns or something?
Yeah, so I used to live in Florida and they have a lot of hurricanes there. And so if you see the hurricanes, they basically call it like a spaghetti model. You see all these lines of different paths that the hurricane could potentially take. And that's a Monte Carlo simulation. Basically, they run a ton of different simulations based on the data that they have. And it'll give kind of all of the different scenarios that are possible. And that's essentially what a Monte Carlo simulation is you basically run it and it simulates like a whole bunch of different variables.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of shuffles everything and makes so like in a trading context, the way that this works is yeah, I mean it's basically just a random order of trades here.
Yes.
And every time you run it, it's going to be randomized, so you'll get a different sequence of trades. So what we can do is actually look at this. So we can enter our risk to reward. So here I've got that 1 to 3. And we can set our probability to winning to, so 25% would just be break even, right? But let's do a little bit higher than that. So, something with a true edge. So let's do, I don't know, 33%. Okay, that would be a pretty good edge for a 1 to 3 risk to reward strategy. Okay, if you're winning 33% of the time. And then we'll say the risk amount per trade is 1%. And then the number of trades, we'll just run it over, 1,000 trades. Okay. So I'm going to click submit here and we'll let that script run. Okay. And if we see the results here, we've got asymmetric compounding and we've got regular compounding. So regular compounding, again, is pretty straightforward. Every time we win a trade, it's +3. Every time we lose, it's -1. And, it just runs just like that. And you can see, this is the sequence of trades. We've had some winners, losers, whatever. We're winning 33% of the time. Now, here at the beginning, I could see there's a couple instances where we've had 2 winners in a row, and that's where asymmetric compounding, again, really has its edge. Now, if we win and then lose, that's where it's not as good. But overall, asymmetric compounding, mathematically speaking, should perform better than regular compounding as long as you have an edge like we do in our example. So if we look here, look at how much better over 1,000 trades asymmetric compounding performs compared to regular compounding. $833,000 of profit versus $124,000 of profit. Pretty powerful. And in fact, the max drawdown was similar. Usually asymmetric compounding is more. In this case, it happens to be less because again, it's more of that roller coaster, but just, all emotions and psychology aside, just looking at numbers, asymmetric compounding is that much more powerful. So let's run it again. Let's just do another randomization and see what the results are. Okay. So you can see here, this win-loss sequence is different. And so our results are going to be different. Is that right? 9 million to 350,000?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's like insane. Yeah, I mean, we just must have been really lucky with the 2 winners in a row.
Yeah. I think when you extrapolate it out over 1,000 trades, the asymmetric compounding is really going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we went all the way down to like the 10,000th trade, I mean, that's really a good data sample. Wow, it just gets too big. Let's lower our win percentage to like 30%. Yeah. Okay. So 30%. Max drawdowns were, sorry, it just has to finish calculating. So max drawdowns were similar, in fact, more again on the regular compounding. This one, regular compounding, won after 1,000 trades, actually. It was slightly higher. And that's something I've noticed. I mean, obviously, the better your edge, the more powerful asymmetric compounding is. Run it again.
Yeah, I've noticed too, sometimes when you run it, it'll be less, but rarely, majority of the time it.
Yeah, so like in this case, I mean, it's the exact same numbers, but after 1,000 trades, we're 117,000 balance versus 48,000. So significantly more profitable. Similar drawdowns. But yeah, I mean, if we went to like a really strong edge, let's say a 50% win rate at the 1 to 3 risk to reward.
But are you guys getting this, how powerful this is? That literally all you're doing is you're literally changing your risk management method. You're not changing anything with your trading strategy, your entries, your exits, nothing. You're just changing the risk management. Yeah, so you can see that's pretty crazy, obviously.
Yeah. So if we go down to like just a break even strategy, you know, I don't think I think asymmetric compounding is not going to be nearly as powerful because, you know, you need to have those consistent winners, and you're just not going to get that as much with a strategy that doesn't have edge. So here you had much higher drawdown and ending balances. I mean, regular compounding was better. Both lost. But yeah, it's kind of fun to play with. So anyways, if I were to show you Titan AC, you could see in the settings, you can automate all of this. So you say exactly how much you want to risk. Let's say you want to risk, you know, 1% per trade, or you want to risk, you know, $500 per trade. You could do that too. But let's just say you want to risk 1% per trade. There you go. You can select your compounding increments. So that's like how many trades you want to compound in a row. So in all of our examples, we were just compounding 2 winners in a row. You could do 3 or more if you wanted to. And you know, if you hit that, I mean, the gains would be so much more. I mean, let's go back to our 1 to 3 here. Yeah, 1 to 3. So let's say we're compounding 3 in a row. Okay, so we win. That's 3%. So the next one we're risking 3% plus 1%, so 4% to make 12. Well, then on the next one we risk 12% plus 1%, so that's 13% to make, what is that?
39%.
Yeah, 39% would be your win on that one trade. You'd make 39% on that one trade. So I mean, the more you win in a row, it gets pretty crazy. But
Probably for a prop firm challenge, you're probably not going to have to compound more than twice.
yeah. Generally speaking, you probably don't need to compound that much. You can also do include partial profits. So let's say trades close early due to profit baskets, or you know, the trading session ends and the end action is to close all trades. And so you didn't quite reach your take profit, but you had some profit. You could even take, you know, that's how you use that more conservative approach here, where we took, you know, a smaller portion of our winnings, you know, partial profits basically, that we compounded on the next trade. You can do that here too, where you also include partial profits in your compounding. So you just set that to true. And so let's say that you're targeting 3%, but trading session ends and you only captured 1%, then you could just risk that 1% on the next trade instead of, you know, just doing normal risk on the next trade. So that's kind of cool. All right. Oh yeah, can we get the Monte Carlo sheet? Sure. I'll post it with the replay. By the way, you can see here, this is the HedgeBot settings. I know everyone's really excited about that. I am too, believe me. In fact, I'm running it right now on a demo, just making sure that it's working before we release it. But yeah, basically the way that it works is you enter your so the Titan AC and Titan X are acting as the sender, right? So if you're familiar with copy trading or how that works, basically you have a sender and a receiver, and you put the sender on the master terminal, or in this case, the prop firm challenge, and then the receiver is on your personal account. And that's the one that you're using to hedge with, right? And so that's the one that that's receiving the copy trades from your prop firm account. So the way that it works is pretty simple. You just simply load Titan AC as usual, and then you just come down here and you just say true for hedging on real account. You enter your challenge cost, you enter your max loss allowed, you enter your challenge size, any, symbol, prefixes, suffixes, if you have those, and then that's it. And then you just go over to your LQD account or whatever you're using for your personal account, and you just simply load it onto the chart, and there you have it. This little green box here means that it's connected, and it will automatically, receive those trades from your prop account.
So Joe, would you mind going through some of the basic settings? I know you went through a couple of them on AC. I know a lot of them are, similar from Titan X. Maybe just like a high level overview.
Yeah.
So the main things that make Titan AC different, right, are the compounding increments, right?
Right. That's what we just went over. These basic settings, honestly, are the biggest, the biggest, unique settings compared to Titan X.
Yep.
Everything else is pretty much the same. I would say the only other thing that's really different is, and you've got PBs, you've got the schedule settings. I mean, it's all very much overlapping. It's probably this right here. And so this is just where you enter your take profit and stop loss that you want to use for the asymmetric compounding. So you're going to use a fixed take profit stop loss, right? So in our examples that we just went over, it was like a fixed 1 to 3 risk to reward, or a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward. And so you just have to decide, are you going to do a fixed 1 to 2 based on pips or based on the ATR? I personally like using the ATR better. That's the average true range. It's just an indicator that measures the volume on in over any particular period or time frame. But yeah, it's like kind of the range that the candle or it moved over that period, whatever you define it as. So yeah, so that's the ATR indicator. And so it's just kind of a dynamic way to set your take profit and stop loss with the movement of the market. And so if you set this to ATR multiplier, for example, then that means this take profit is going to take that ATR value and multiply it by 10, which is going to be very small if the market's moving a little bit, or it's going to be very big if the market's moving really big. So that's why I say it's kind of dynamic with the market, which I like, rather than just having a fixed, 10 pip stop loss, 30 pip take profit, right? So you can kind of see how that's more dynamic using the ATR indicator. So, if I have it set to this, that means my take profit's going to be 10 times the ATR value, and my stop loss is going to be 5 times the ATR value. And then I just have my ATR settings down here. So it's based on a 96 period. So a 96 candle period. So basically it looks at the 5-minute time frame, and it goes back 96 candles and then calculates the average range over the last 96 candles on the 5-minute time frame, is how that works. So yeah. But if you'd like, you could also select pips for the fixed take profit stop loss. And in that case, then it would just simply be 10 pips to your take profit and then 5 pips to your stop loss. And that would just be fixed. So whether the market's moving, it has little volume moving like this, or big volume and moving like that, it'll just be the same 5 and 10. So, yeah. So, we ultimately, we're just going off of whatever the data says is the best given the current market conditions. But those are the options there. But yeah, I mean, I'd say other than that, it's all very much the same. We do have the supply and demand zones features on Titan AC, and it's going to be coming soon in Titan X as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I did add some details on this in the settings explain documents that I just added. But there's a couple questions I actually have on it. I don't remember exactly how I set it up, so I just want to clarify that first before, with the developer, just to make sure it's working exactly as intended before I, make an explanation video on it.
Joe, I got a couple of questions. So if you use the ATR feature as the stop loss and take profit, would the take profit and stop loss move during the trade?
No, it would be at the time of the entry criteria being met is the ATR value that's used for the take profit and stop loss. So it places the trade with the take profit and stop loss all at the same time.
Okay. And I have another question. So if I listened to tonight and I saw the power of asymmetric compounding and I wanted to go into the MTP and I wanted to mess around with the optimizer to try and find a really cool strategy with the with Titan AC to, use like a 1-3 or 1-2 risk reward, what different parameters would you play around with mostly when trying to come up with this strategy?
That's a good question. I mean, I would just start with maybe setting up some basic um, strategies, kind of like we showed tonight in those examples. So you could start with just like risking 1% per trade, compounding increments 2, just leave that off for now. And then just set your entry settings to whatever you want. There's going to be, you know, um, an infinite basically number of combinations that you could do for entries, but you could just do a simple one. So you could just, turn on the MA filter and just set your MAs to whatever values you want. You could optimize for different MA values if you wanted to, and then just see how it does. And then maybe try 3 in a row, or maybe try, risking more per trade, or maybe try including partial profits. Um, there's lots of different ways you could play with this.
Okay. So just come up with the basic entry setting and then, play around with the initial risk amount, the partial profits and the compounding increments.
Yep, exactly. And again, I would personally, I would say wait until the bugs are sorted. So I wouldn't just go and do that right now. Once these bugs are sorted, though, we should be good. Um, so yeah, I would just wait for these to get sorted first, and then yeah, I'm actually really excited to play with this more myself and see what we're able to come up with. I think, another really good place to start is just by using strategies on the leaderboard, top strategies, and trying to tweak them and modify them to see if you can't make them any better, or at least learn from them. Right now, we don't have any of the later versions of Titan AC on the leaderboard. So, I'm excited to get those up there as soon as we get these bugs sorted out. All right. How long for the bugs to get sorted? I would, I would expect them to be sorted, maybe tomorrow, latest early next week. Um, as soon as possible is always the goal with that. OpenCL. So I see people asking about OpenCL. Yes, that is in the works. That's going to be ready whenever it's ready. I mean, it's kind of a huge project, honestly. And so, hopefully it's ready sometime this month would be awesome. It's a totally different language, totally different structure in the code. And so, I mean, we're rewriting everything from scratch, and then we need to make sure the results match, and we need to make sure that we're also including the new features that we come out with. I mean, so, that'll be ready as soon as it is. Yeah. So Fred said, "This is my last rodeo. I've spent so much money and time trying to learn this, which sounds like just trading in general. Even though I'm a techie, the charts do not come easily to me. I'm 71 and still technically sound, but need an edge without sitting at the computer for 3+ hours on end." I hear you. I agree. That's why I'm really excited that we've been able to automate this. For OpenCL, so somebody asked, can we just use our VPS for OpenCL? You'll need to upgrade to a server that has GPU included.
Joe, a lot of people really excited about the hedging bot strategy. Will it be available before the 14th?
Yes, and in fact, would you guys be interested in testing it with us? I can release it, and actually that would help us get it out faster if you guys are willing to test. The one thing you have to promise me though is, because it's in beta and because we're just trying to test with as many people as possible to get as much feedback as possible, as fast as possible, that you only use it on demo accounts. So that's the one rule, is that if you promise to only use it on a demo account because we're still testing, then we can do that. And that would actually be very helpful, because we just get that much feedback that much faster by having more people testing with us. You guys, demo, yeah, right. I'm all in. No. Okay. Well, sounds like it's a resounding yes, we'll use demo only, and yes, please send it to us so we can test. So yeah, we'll do that. That would be very helpful.
Do we
And
need,
that
do
will
we need,
help us get it ready as soon as possible. Yeah.
do we need instructions on how to set that up, Joe?
Yes, we will need instructions. So let's do this. Order of operations here. Number one is going to be to sort the bugs on Titan AC. So we'll have a new version coming out with the bugs sorted, and that will include these sender settings. And then I'll release that with the hedge bot, as well as with instructions on how to set it all up. And we should be, yeah, that should work well.
Is the hedge bot for Titan X and Titan AC, or no?
It's just Titan AC for now. It'll be in Titan X shortly after.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Can you pull up your screen? I haven't even seen it, Joe. Can I see what it looks like?
Yeah. So this is it.
That's all there is to it, huh?
Really simple. Yeah.
That looks easy.
Yep. It's really simple. You just throw it on your chart, look for the green check mark, and you're good to go.
That looks easy, huh? It's like the easiest product we ever released.
I know.
God bless.
Prefix suffix. So, sometimes on brokers, you'll have like XAUUSD.TFF, for example, like True Forex Funds does. Let's see if I have that. Yeah, you see how they got like .TFF or .cash after or whatever. So you would just enter that as the suffix. That way the EAs can recognize that those are the same pair, even though it has a different name.
And Joe, can you show Titan AC the section where you actually program the receiver, essentially?
Yes. Where did that go?
So that's pretty slick. You do it all inside of Titan AC.
Yeah, it's the second one from the bottom. There we go. Right before the tester settings. So trade sender settings.
Okay, cool.
And you just need to flip this to true. I first had this at set to false. I forgot to flip it to true. And so then I went in over here, loaded it on, and I had an X on here instead of a check mark. And I was like, why isn't it connected? Come back here and oh, forgot to set this to true. And then you'll just enter in your total challenge cost. So how much you want to recover in case the challenge fails. And then this is your probably rename this. I don't
Yeah.
it's just like it's just the max loss limit for your challenge. So $10,000 for 100,000. That's very typical. And then your challenge account size. And then if
Nice.
you have any prefixes or suffixes on your symbols here in your prop account, then you'd put that here. But I do not.
Yeah, let's rename that one feature. That is a little bit
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the max loss.
max loss. Yeah. Cool. That's sweet. That's simple. Yes, Perty says this is the holy grail and it'll make trading less stressful. Stress-free, actually.
How do the sender and receiver EA know each other? It's just magic. You know, a little bit of pixie dust and it works. No, I want to give you the right answer, and I'm not exactly positive. I think I know, but it's sending trades over the internet, and yeah, I think it has something to do with the magic number, but I'll confirm that and let you know. That's another thing too that we're gonna have sorted out in the next Titan AC version is random magic numbers. Right now, it's the same for everyone, which for obvious reasons is not good because that's an easy way to get flagged for copy trading. So another reason why we need to wait for the next version of Titan AC first.
Need Psi4X to test this. Is he test? I think he is testing it, isn't he, Joe? Somebody's testing
Titan
it.
AC? Yeah. All the optimizers are testing it for sure. Then there's a lot of AC strategies on the leaderboard as well. I mean, got some killers on the leaderboard. Look at this.
Yeah.
90, 397. And I mean, these top 1, 2, 3 strategies are all Titan AC.
Amazing. You like the new design there, Joe?
I do. Yeah, it's sharp. I like it. Look at this one. Top 5 are all AC. True Forex funds. True Forex funds. Top 3 are Titan X.
Yeah, Leo, we're gonna get a dark mode, Jeremy, for all you dark mode freaks out there.
Yeah, I like it. It's really clean, sharp.
Cool. Okay.
Results. Love it. More on brand. Yeah, I would love to see average EP before clicking on strat. Me too. Average EP, average days as well. We're working on it. It's not a simple thing to do though, because right now we're not storing the results in our database. And so when you load this page, it's calculating, right when you load it. So what we have to do is we have to store the results in our database and then calculate it in our database so that we can display it here. So it's not as easy as it sounds probably, but we'll get there. Yes, Mohammed, there is a video where you can understand what the hedge bot is. If you go to announcements, in fact, I'll just say this, if you message your coach, they will link you to it. But it's here in the announcements somewhere. Did I pass it? Yes, right here. This video, prop farming hedge bot strategy. Can you please explain what EP is and how it works? So if you actually go to the settings display document, you can go to stop loss, take profit settings. You can go down to equity protector. The other way to do it is you just do Control F and you can search, or Command F if you're on Mac, and you just search equity protector. There you go. And there it is, equity protector. And at the bottom of all this text is actually a video that explains what the equity protector is. You just click there and it will show you much better than I could explain right now, because I've got, examples all set up and everything in here to make it easier to understand. So yeah, you can check it out there. The days column has 5 days, even that already more than 30 days. The days column. The days column.
What is that?
Also, another adjustment we're making to the leaderboard, just side note, is we're going to no longer have retakes, because pretty much every prop firm is offering unlimited trading time. So that should make our results even better, actually, and more accurate. So every result will run all the way to pass or fail. There won't be any more retakes. There won't be any more, because what happens with the retakes is it's when you're in profit after your time limit is up, which is normally 30 days. But like I said, most prop firms don't have that anymore, which is great. Okay. Tonnage, I am there. Your question is, the days column has 5 days, even though even that already more than 30 days. You can send me a DM, tonnage, and I can look at it for you. So chunk size, it won't be required anymore. So you don't need to, if you set it to 31, you set it to 1, you set it to 99, doesn't matter. Leaderboard will accept all of it.
Hey guys, can we get a 777 in the chat for Joe? Joe is constantly building this product like nonstop. He's like dedicated his life to doing this, and he's doing an amazing job. Like all the features and all of the improvements to the product constantly is just like so cool. So Joe, you're getting a lot of 777s. Everyone appreciates you.
Nice. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate you. Thanks for all your feedback. I mean, the vast majority of these features are coming from your feedback and ideas within the community. We always say, like, our best ideas come from the community. So shout out to you guys as well. Hedgebot 7777 Hedgebot. All right. Well, I think we're over an hour now, so we'll probably just wrap it up here. Any last burning questions before we do? Did you guys are you guys excited about asymmetric compounding? Was that helpful? Do you guys understand better? Okay, good. I hope so. I might record like a video that's going to be more concise and just a little bit better, that we can use as reference inside of our settings explain document for Titan AC, that you can reference. But anyways, hopefully you got the idea, and yeah, lots of great stuff to come with the Titan AC, with the asymmetric compounding working now, and obviously the hedge bot that's coming, and yeah, we've got leaderboard updates. I mean, everything. We've got a lot of really exciting stuff going into 2024, and I'm more excited than ever. So really looking forward to this year and seeing what we can do with prop farming.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.